Great awakening, lights lords, and grand rising to those who have not yet awoken, to know that something comes from nothing. And you have to have a starting point. You have to have a starting point in order to have a manifestation or manipulation or creation. And this deals with any type of art. This is with any type of art form. You must start with a blank canvas. Okay? Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go really deep in this video, and I would like for you to have a very open mind and try to absorb as much information as you can before you cognitively dissonate yourself. Okay, before you have any type of cognitive dissonance, or if you have any type of cognitive dissonance, then just just put it to a halt and stop it real quick, and just listen to everything that I'm about to say before you have any type of reply or any type of response. Okay. Now, everything comes from nothing. Okay. Now you're thinking, I already know you're probably thinking, no, there must be something always. There must be something, okay, that that something comes from, that anything comes from. There must be something first. Now, that is true, okay? But that something is nothing. And I'm going to prove that right now by saying, when you get, no matter what art form you practice or what art form you express life through, your perception of life through, you must start with a blank slate. And any artist can relate to this, especially visual artists or painters or people that draw. Okay, no matter what color the sheet of paper you have, when you're drawing or painting, or no matter where you're painting your drawing or your expression of art, it always starts with nothing. It always starts with there's nothing. First, there must be some type of inspiration. First, there must be some type of inspiration or some type of idea. You must formulate some type of idea, okay? Or formulate some type of thought, some type of specific thing that you're going to do. And if you don't do that, then you're led by intuition, or you're led by your feelings, which are also thoughts, which are also culminations of thoughts. They're just unconscious thoughts. They're just thoughts that you are not aware of. So everything starts with thoughts. When you begin to, like, whether you're a writer or a drawer or any type of artist, you start with something blank. You start with a blank sheet of paper, or a blank, basically a blank canvas, just anything blank. You start with blank. You start with blankness. You start with nothingness. You start with something that has nothing on it that represents the idea that you have in your mind, or the intuitive the intuitive drive that you wish to display through your expression of life. It doesn't have that on there yet. It just has whatever it is, which is nothing to the art, which is nothing to it. Okay, it's nothing. It's nothing there first. But then when you put something on that canvas, or you put something on that sheet of paper and you write it down, then that's when you begin to create or manifest this art, this expression of life. Okay, you begin to manifest this thing. Okay, so this is just one way. This is just one simple, way of showing how, or proving that everything it comes from nothing. Everything comes from nothing. Another way to prove this is you close your eyes, okay? You can close your eyes, and imagine. You can do this. This is a practice, okay? This is a practice. This is something that I actually want you to practice, because I practiced this myself, and the effects are phenomenal. You can go into a room, a dim lit room, or dark room, or you can do this right before you go to sleep, so you can experience this with the euphoric dream state. Close your eyes and imagine if you had no sound, no taste, no smell, You know, no hearing, no taste, no smell, no seeing, and no touch, no feeling. Then what would you perceive? What would you perceive without those five senses? Without those five senses, what would you see? Okay? That's what I want you to ask yourself. What would you see? Now this is hypothetical. This is something hypothetical. But when you put it into practice and it becomes a whole truth and absolute truth because you experience it. What you experience is absolute truth, and what you hear or see or sense without fully experiencing for yourself is half truth. Any type of information that you get from another person or a book or anything, okay, that you get that you don't fully experience for yourself is half truth. This is absolute truth. Absolute truth is something that cannot be disproven. It's something that cannot be disproved. It's something that cannot be, you cannot say that this hasn't happened, or you cannot say that this doesn't exist or this isn't real. You can't say that. Everything comes from nothing. It's all from nothing. It is something I like to call the void. And when I first experienced the void, it was basically like the breakdown is basically like the breakdown of all of reality around you. It all breaks down. And see, lots of people, they get scared when this happens and they relate it to like demons or fallen angels or some type of or archons, ARCHONS, if you've never heard of that. They relate it to something that's basically devilish or evil or lower, which is not, because there's a reason for fear, and there's a reason for all of these things that we experience in our natural lives. There's a reason for everything in nature. Okay, there's a reason. There are specific purposes and reasons for everything that happens. So what we must see is that when this happens and during this process of going into the void, your brain is wired to begin to panic because it's based off senses. The brain it basically takes in electromagnetic energy, electric and magnetic signals that it gets through a certain bandwidth or spectrum of energy, and then it takes all of that through the five senses, through the different ways of creating the projection or a hologram, and then it creates the hologram. It projects it back into it takes all the electromagnetic signals and it formulates it into images and feelings. Okay, it formulates it into experience. Okay, it formulates all of this into experience. Okay, so when they experience, when one of those things, or one of those senses are hindered, the brain is like, okay, well, hey, we need to do this another way. We need to go about this another way, and some type of reformatting. It has to reformat itself. In that process of it reformatting itself and coming to the conclusion that it doesn't have exactly what it has, exactly what it needs at that time to create an experience, is what people call fear. Is what people call panicking, because they don't understand it. Because the brain is misunderstanding itself at that moment. It's misunderstanding its own experience. And that's where fear comes from. That's where evil and all of these negative things come from. It comes from misunderstanding first. So when you're in the process of going to this void, there's going to be a breakdown of reality. There's going to be a whole breakdown of reality. Everything around you is going to begin breaking down, and you might go into a fear state unless you're already accustomed to this type of thing, unless you're already trained in the mystery schools and the secret sciences of subtle energies. There's going to be some type of panic, or there's going to be some type of process of acceptance. Basically, you're going to go through this process. You're gonna first start with denial. It's going to be a denial stage. Like, what the heck is going on? It's going to be like, there's a denial stage, and then there's a guilt stage. Like, oh man, this all happened because of me. Then there's a mad stage. Like, oh man, this messed up, man. This some fucked up shit. Like, and then there's the depression stage. Like, man, why the hell I go through this? What the hell going on, man? Because there's nothing around. There are no senses. Like, everything is breaking down slowly. There's nothing. And then there's the final stage where there's acceptance. So you have to accept it. The final stage is always acceptance. You must remember that the final stage is always acceptance. Okay, it's always acceptance. So even though you're going through these other stages, and it varies between person and consciousness and level of consciousness and what you can think about and actually affect how you can affect your life, there's always acceptance at the end of the day. At the end of the day, that's the most positive thing, because once you accept something is when you can transform. Once you accept something, you get to that stage of acceptance, you can transform. And when you get to the void, and when you get completely into the void and get that acceptance, you will immediately begin to know. You will immediately begin to know that everything is nothing, and that all reality stems from self. Out of nothingness, out of the darkness, light comes forth from the darkness. There is light within the darkness. The light is the consciousness. The light is the conscious mind. A conscious mind within the subconscious mind telling itself that it exists, okay? In order to not be nothing. So it's nothing that's going against itself, creating something. That is how everything works. That is how everything is created. And no matter what type of art form or expression of life, you use or practice or have, then that it all comes from that. You must remember that as above, so below, and so without, so within. So what you do outside of yourself is what's happening on the bigger scale. It's actually what's happening on the bigger scale, just in a different way. It's transformation of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, and only be transformed from one state to the next. So once you go through this, actually experience this through practicing what I told you to practice, you will get to the point where you will realize that all there is self. All there is self, and nothing else matters but the enjoying the best you can, the best way you know how. Okay, and creating more and delving into information and into your intellectual mind and into your emotional body and to all these different types of bodies and forms of self, delving into them and taking those parts of yourself and manipulating them for your reality, manipulating them to manipulate your reality exactly how you want and create experience exactly how you wish to experience it, and then there's just, after that is just total fulfillment. After that is just you just keep doing the same thing over and over, doing it in different ways, having fun with it, and you're having a positive and grateful life, full of greatness. Okay, you're having a grateful life. When you are grateful, when you actually are thankful for what you have, you are actually taking what you have and taking the greatness from it, taking what you have great within yourself and imposing that upon what you actually have. So you become full of greatness. It all becomes one thing. Okay, what's up with it, bro? All right.
Let me stick my seat. I'm still behind.
I was about to get off, man.
Still behind.
Are you just gonna stand behind me?
This kind of energy is dangerous. Energy.
All these guys in one spot.
The G that is inner. You do not have to speak. When you speak with true energy, look at the tree. When you speak with true energy, it comes out of your vibration.
Yeah. So you basically just vibrate, you create a frequency, you move a certain way, and then the vibration actually comes back to you, reflects off everything in existence, and then creates your reality, what you see. Everything that you do, the way you move,
there is
everything
no
that you...
or them or opposition other than self.
Yes, sir.
So move self to a higher vibration.
There you go. So I just wanted to talk about, the void and how everything is nothing, because there's a lot of people that don't understand this and don't just can't comprehend it because they think it's straight illogical, but it's actually logical behind all of this stuff. It's innate information.
They know this already.
You should like the Christ says, be like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. To enter the kingdom of heaven is so narrow, it's like a camel going into the eye of a needle. And you must be like a child in order to enter the kingdom of heaven, because you must have an open mind like a child has, and you must be able to know how to get yourself upon the theta wave mind state. How your brain creates different types of waves. And the theta wave mind state is an open mind state that takes in as much as it can, takes in information. And this is the void mind state. This is the void mind state. Theta and delta waves are similar to the void mind state.
Chaotic.
Okay,
Chaos.
it's just openness. It's openness. It's taking in as much light as it can, because you're creating your own reality. So
watch your subconscious thoughts.
so
Program.
you gotta become more aware of your thoughts, and actually, once you become more aware of your thoughts, you will actually get to the root of those thoughts. Actually get to the root of where they come from, which is the conscious mind manipulating the subconscious mind. Okay, from nothing, creating something, which creates everything. So that's all I want to talk about today. I am JAH MASHIAC. I am here to live out and teach higher wisdom as an example for the collective consciousness. So share and subscribe, and add my other social media pages, and let's spread this knowledge. And for the collective consciousness, let's expand. Okay. And for the people that's already expanded, let's implode and create these black holes and suck in this information. Okay, and get everybody on one accord. Okay. Let's bring the age of Aquarius now. Peace, 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 peace. I love myself.